Hello, hello from the beautiful Green Mountains in Vermont. It's so hard to believe it's already June 15th and summer is literally just days away. Well, it will be officially summer in a few days from now or in about a week from now, but really here in Vermont, temperature-wise, it has felt like summer since May. Though this video is airing on June 15th, in all honesty, it is now currently May 23rd and I'm in the process of doing a lot of editing because I'm getting ready to leave for vacation. And if all goes well, by today I will have been on vacation, I will have relaxed and had lots of fun with my family, and I'll already be back. Over the last few months, I've worked very hard to make sure that I have videos posted on a weekly basis. In this week's video, I'm working on another watercolor abstract, and it's going to be using different colors than the colors you've seen in videos that I've posted in previous weeks. To create this painting, I'm using some of the paint that's left over on my palette that you can see there on the right, and I'm also going to be working with some other colors. Everything that I use in my videos is always listed in my video description, but if there's something specific you would like to know, or if you have any questions for me, I'm always more than happy to answer your questions. I'm working on building my background, and to do this, I first started off by spritzing my page with some water, and then I started dabbing some of that color you're seeing on the page right now. My preferred way to work when I'm working on a painting, especially an abstract painting, is to work intuitively. So I don't necessarily have a set plan. I'm applying my colors and sort of letting what I'm seeing in front of me guide my process. Here I'm mixing a little bit of Titan Buff to that blue that was on my palette, and it kind of creates a bit of a greenish, bluish gray, if you will, a more neutral color than the color that's on my paper right now, and I think that will help to create some balance. Often when I'm working on a background like I am here, it can look a little bit messy at first, and you sort of have to basically trust the process and understand that as you keep going, things are going to keep changing and shifting. And with watercolors in particular, there's not a whole lot of control that you have over what's going on, especially if you're using a lot of water, which I typically do. I love painting in this mindful way because it really encourages me to let go of control and to just go with the flow. Being present in the moment as I'm painting and observing what's happening on my paper helps me make decisions. And it also is very, like I've said before, very relaxing because there's no pressure. Nothing has to be a certain way. I've added some green gold to my background and it really looks a little overwhelming right now, but once it dries, like you can see here, it does get muted quite a bit because watercolors dry lighter than they are when they're first applied. And this is always something that's good to remember as you're working. Once my first layer of paint has dried, I start to add a second layer of paint to intensify my colors and also to work with the shapes that I've started to see on the paper. Because I've taped my paper to a piece of black plexiglas instead of just taping it to my work surface, it gives me the flexibility to lift my paper and to move it around so that I can also move the paint in different ways than I would normally be able to move it by using a brush. I like working with gravity this way, and I like the way that the paint will just kind of go where it wants to go. When I first started to learn how to work with watercolors, I remember feeling a certain amount of pressure to not waste my supplies because paper can be pretty expensive, especially when you buy good quality paper. This is why I have a good variety of different qualities of paper on hand at all time. If I'm experimenting, doing something that's pretty new to me or trying out a new technique, then I always prefer to start by working on a less expensive paper to try things out. Being mindful, of course, that the paint won't necessarily move the same way on this paper as it would on a better quality paper. But this way, I release the pressure of having to create something quote unquote perfect or aesthetically pleasing, if you will, because I don't want to be wasting my supplies. And oftentimes, when I release this pressure, I will find that I end up creating something that I actually really enjoy. And I wish that I had just used the good quality paper to begin with. But at least I'm giving myself some flexibility and I'm releasing myself from that need to create something, absolutely beautiful. I don't really believe in perfection. I have strived for it for a long time when I was younger, and I finally came to understanding that it just does not exist. And in fact, if it were to exist, it would be very, very hard to define because who's to say who knows exactly what perfect looks like? We would all have a very different definition of what perfection is. And so I prefer to paint in a way that creates less stress for me, that gives me the opportunity to experiment and play, because painting really is about playing. Yes, it can be serious and you can, actually sell artwork. But when you create in a way that feels playful, it's often more fun. And not only that, it often is when we create the paintings that we like the most. I started this painting thinking I would create mostly using blues and maybe some green, and then it just, I don't know, something felt like it was missing. So I first added the green gold, which, did add a bit of oomph, I guess, to my painting. And when I felt like it was needing a little something more, I added this nickel azo yellow that I applied before I'm applying this blue now. And as you can see, it really started to make the background come to life, and I like that way, way better. Now applying this darker blue is helping to create more contrast in my background, and it's making all of those colors pop. As I'm working on building a background like I am right now, I always remember to stop and let my paper dry when I reach a point where I like what I've created. So before I started adding this blue over the yellow I had just added, I made sure my paper was dry. Otherwise, the blue and the yellow would have mixed, and of course, that would have turned into green. And maybe that would have been nice, but in this case, I really wanted to preserve that yellow. So that's why it was important for me to make sure that my paper was dry before I started adding more paint to it. I like what I've created so far, and now I'm getting to the point where I'm going to let this layer dry and then start pulling out my markers. The first marker I'm pulling out is my Elegant Writer. I like working with this marker because the ink in it is water soluble, and when you spritz water over it, it can really create some interesting effects. I add a few little spritzes of water over this ink, and instantly my painting has a little bit more contrast. After letting that layer dry, I pull out my fountain pen and I start to work on developing that contrast even more. I I almost like this background so much that I just want to leave it as is and not add anything else to it at this point. But I'm not really ready for the fun to be over yet, so I'm gonna pull out my pens and start doing a little bit of doodling. As you can see, I added some gold, and unfortunately, I did not remember to hit the record button. Live and learn, as they say. Thankfully, I made this realization before I moved on to the next step, and I did hit record to show you me adding this blue. I decided to add the blue in order to create more balance in my painting. I decided adding a few splatters of that same blue would probably be a good idea as well. That, and I just really enjoy splattering paint too and find it fun. Since I've got circles and round shapes and little splatters of paint elsewhere in my painting, I've decided to pull out my white pen, and now I'm going to add some dots, sort of to replicate those other shapes in the painting, but on a smaller scale. I was also feeling like I needed to add a few more rings because I did create that one gold ring on the bottom right corner of my painting, but I felt like I needed a couple more. So I pulled out my gold paint again. And once I was done with that, I started also adding a few little gold elements here and there, just using my micro mini brush. Repetitive shapes and marks in a variety of different sizes can help to create interest in a painting. This is one of the reasons I like to work with pens and markers that have varying tip sizes. Whenever I'm working on a painting, there's always a point in time where I start to ask myself if I'm nearing the end of the painting process. So how do I know when my painting is done? For me, it's a matter of looking at the overall composition and seeing how I feel about it. Do I feel like I've created enough balance? Do my colors seem to go well together? Have I created good contrast? Is my eye being drawn to different places in the painting so that I can look at different elements and not just really focusing on one specific element to the detriment of all the other details in the painting? Those are clues to me that I am close to having finished my painting. And sometimes it can just be as easy as wanting it to be done, as feeling like your play session is finished and that you're satisfied with what you've done. I'm happy with what I created today, so now I'm ready to call it done. Here's a closer look at some of the cool details in the painting. Thank you for making the time to join me on this little journey of inspiration today. I hope you have a wonderful week and happy creating!